Hi, I'm Ash Tower. I'm one of the residents in the ACE Studio program for 2022. I've known for a long time that I've wanted to be an artist, but my pathway towards it has been kind of a winding one. I attended the Adelaide Central School of Art straight after high school, but following my graduation from there, I went into a Ph.D. program, and then I came back to the studio being informed by the more formal research that I'd done, and now I spend a lot of my time synthesizing my practice out of those kind of formal research traditions that I learned during my Ph.D. I always built stuff as a kid. I was always interested in solving mechanical problems than kind of mental ones. And I was always making stuff in classes where I shouldn't have been making stuff. And I think that naturally led to an inquiry about how stuff fits together. Nowadays, I tend to describe my practice as sitting somewhere between the systems of knowledge and the history of technology and architecture as a vehicle for meaning. And those three things work together in a really nice way because they focus on the artifacts of human invention and human experience. But really the main and the most important thing for me is knowledge and the way that humans understand and order the world around them. I'm interested in technology as an artifact of necessity historically. Places like libraries and museums and archives have historically been a site of my practice because they are places that force us to encode and classify knowledge in certain ways. I was always fascinated by the way that science is kind of like a crude analog of reality. Science understands the world not as a search for an objective truth in the universe, but an attempt to cobble together an approximate model of it. And I think that that had really quite profound implications for my practice and the way that art can tell us things about the world, because suddenly it emboldens the artist, no matter how kind of crude or cobbled their work is, to present a version of reality which actually tells us something interesting, either about them or about the kind of ideas within their work. Materially, my practice has always been really diverse. One of the kind of core elements of my work is that I will always adopt the material language that exists in proximity to some of the ideas that I'm working with. And so while I was trained in, I guess, the classical schools of drawing and painting and sculpture, I tend to employ unconventional materials or materials that are at least unfamiliar to me. In the past, this has been having people fabricate kind of carpentry using vinyl, using found objects. At the moment, I'm working on a project that looks at the history of nuclear technology and atomic testing. And I'm also connecting it to the history of funerary architecture, particularly like European, quite a broad European tradition of funerary architecture. My reasoning being that both of these kind of ideas of, atomic technology and safeguarding both nations with kind of nuclear weapons, but also the sort of protective measures that need to exist around nuclear technology are not too dissimilar from the sort of protective measures that we symbolically use in funerary architecture and in the way that we inter and protect bodies through history. Working with the other artists in the program has been great. They're all really wonderful people and I really loved hanging out with them. But also it's been great to see the different ways that people work. Prior to participating in the ACE Studio program, I worked alone at home a lot, and that was great in its own way, but it's been really eye-opening to see the ways in which people approach their practice and really enjoy watching other people sort of pursue different ideas and goals in the studio. And it's been really great to be able to talk about that and reflect on each other's work.